Steve, you benched Garcia against Auburn last time. Do you think that was a major step in his development, maturity-wise? And then also, right after the game, did you have any regrets about that decision?
I think it was a major step in him learning how to run with the ball. As all of you know, he's had that tendency to duck his head, and he hasn't done it since. So maybe he said, if I duck my head and run in there and fumble, I'm coming out of the game. That's the only thing I think it taught Stephen, and that was for his own safety as well as the benefit of our team, because that's when he's usually fumbled, when he ducks his head and runs in there and gets, you can hurt yourself doing that. So that was what we were trying to emphasize to him right there, is just protect the ball, get down, and he's done that very well since. So maybe him coming out of the game helped him a little bit just in that area of carrying the ball. But other than that, he's been solid, throwing the ball away when necessary, and taking care of it. We've had very few sacks, whereas last year he would go ahead and go down with it instead of throwing it away. So he's managed to take care of the ball much better and avoid the big sacks.
Any immediate regrets right after the game?
No, actually Connor went in there and went up and down the field. I just regretted the one call. We tried to fake a little screen and throw D-Mark down the middle, and he was covered like a blanket, and Connor threw it anyway, so you always have. We shouldn't have called that. But Connor went up and down the field when he was in the game. And we had that pick, and then the last pick, Alshon had the ball in two hands, and their safety came by and poked it out, and their other guy made a beautiful diving catch right off the shoelaces. So that was a big play for them, or else we're going for two to tie the game there with about a minute left.
Coach, talk a little bit about how Marcus has handled all the pressure this year of coming in, having a load on him, and heading into a big game like this. And have you had a freshman handle it this well?
Oh, probably not. But Marcus is a very even keel person. He doesn't have a lot of big highs and lows. You don't see him in any kind of wild celebrations. He scores, flips the ball to the ref, gives a little high five to his teammates and so forth, and then he's ready to keep on playing. So that's kind of young, mature, very mature young man that Marcus is. And I think when he came to South Carolina, this was the game he wanted to play in, just like Stephon Gilmore, Alshon Jeffrey, all these guys. They dreamed that we could get to this game someday, and of course they dreamed we can win it someday. And that's what we'll try to do.
Real quick follow-up, is this a factor of just how much more attention high school kids get these days than they did, even 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Just that they're used to these bigger stages?
No, it's the individual. Some kids come in and they want everybody to look at them. But Marcus is a complete team player, and really so is Alshon. Alshon, he wants to win. He wants to win some championships before he leaves here. And so they like the big stage, and we're obviously going on the biggest stage in, I think, in college football. I know it is this weekend. Maybe the national championship game, most people will say, is a little bigger, but for us in the SEC, this is as big as it gets. And you can still get in the national game. It's got to be maybe a little tiny bit bigger than this game, certainly. But all of us that have been in the SEC a period of time, we realize that this is about the biggest stage of college football that you realistically have a chance to get to. Of course, Alabama and Florida and LSU, they've been in the big game the last several years. But for most of us, this is about as big as it gets, put it that way.
Bill? Hey, Steve, following up on that, you haven't been in this game many times, especially in Atlanta. How was this game just different atmosphere-wise for a team compared to like any of your regular season games or a bowl game?
Well, it's a championship game. It's a championship game, full house, and national TV audience. All the SEC schools are finished playing now except us. So probably all the players on all the other teams that love football, they'll watch this game. I know all of our guys pretty much watched it last several years. So it's just, the whole country watches pretty much, and when it's all over, there's a very, very happy team, fans, school, and so forth. And this is what we all shoot for. We've got 12 teams, and only one can win it all. So that's why people watch. There's going to be a winner and a loser, and that's what makes college football, I guess, so big. Is that there's no 2 out of 3. You know, we're not going to get them next week, and so forth. So this is it.
Steve, you said that Marcus is a big part of the reason why you're in this position. During your years of coaching, have you ever had a freshman that was responsible for so much success of your team?
Well, we had a redshirt freshman the year we won it at Duke named Randy Cuthbert, who ran for over 1,100 yards and really only started the last 6 games. So he was averaging about 180 a game those last 6. Had a 234-yard game against Georgia Tech one day. So he sort of helped take over the run we had there at Duke. Eric Rett was a 1,000-yard rusher, I think, about every year down there at the early years at Florida. And then after that, we had like 2 or 3 backs that played a lot in the game. Fred Taylor, Terry Jackson, Eli Williams. We had a bunch of guys. But Marcus is certainly a player who's carried it a whole lot of times and been instrumental in so many of our wins. But it was sort of neat last week's game that we just didn't have much running room for Marcus. So we won another way. We won with defense and a special team fumble by Clemson down on the 6-yard line that really set us up to win the game. So, and then, of course, Alshon had some big catches, and Stephen threw some nice balls early in the game, but that was about it. So hopefully we're a more of a good all-around team and not dependent on one guy.
Coach, what's the one big thing that underscores your certainty about the performance of this team?
What was that?
What is the one big thing that underscores your certainty about the performance of this team?
Underscores the certainty. Well, we're not certain about anything. And I don't know how any team can be certain exactly what's going to happen. But I do believe our guys will play well. I believe that they enjoy the big games, the big stage as we call it, and are really looking forward to playing for the conference championship. That's all I can say about certainty. We're looking forward to it.
Steve Ellis made some significant changes defensively, especially pass defense after the Arkansas game. How do you feel like that and the impact on the whole team has played out in these last games since then?
Well, certainly after Kentucky and even after Arkansas, we tried to work a little bit more on pass defense. We do a whole bunch of third down passing our offense against our defense. So I think that has helped us a lot. We're not the bottom in pass defense anymore. In fact, I think Auburn actually is, I think they're actually at the bottom, and we're about 9th or so like that in pass defense. So anyway, but of course the best defensive statistic is scoring defense and also run defense, and we're very good in those. And Auburn, again, I think in run defense, they're also up there very good. They're second in rush defense. But we did make some changes. We were doing some in and out coverages. It seemed like one or two guys were confused or would leave their guy, leave their zone, leave their man, or whatever. So I think we simplified it a little bit more.
Back to the room.
If you're fortunate enough to get a lead on Auburn, do you make it a point of emphasis that what Auburn does so well is come back? You point that out to your guys, they're well aware of it because they saw it firsthand, just Auburn's ability to come back from 21 down, 17 down, whatever it may be.
Oh, certainly. If you play a team that's the best offense in the SEC, and one of the best in the country, which is Auburn, they're leading the conference in most all the offensive categories, averaging close to 500 yards a game. You don't say, well, we can run 3 and punt the way we did last week, about the entire second half. So we got to keep trying to move the ball and trying to score anytime you play against a real good offensive team. And Auburn has come from behind 4 or 5 games, pretty big time to win, and especially the one last week. to come back off 24-0 against Alabama. That's sort of amazing, but they did it.
Coach, is there anything going on with Steven's thumb that he hit on the helmet, and are there any other injuries of note?
He just bruised his thumb a bit. He was able to stay in the game, and he should be fine.
Steve, you mentioned the other day you thought Cam Newton was deserving of the Heisman. Would his off-field problems preclude you from voting for him?
Well, I don't know of his off-field problems. This what we've read. Nothing's been proven. So until they prove something, I think he deserves to be treated like all the other athletes, unless something. And obviously they've been investigating, and nothing's been proven. So I think we all should treat him like all the other athletes in this game.
Steve, Clemson obviously made an emphasis to stop Marcus in that game. If the Steven Garcia who you benched against Auburn were the same guy against Clemson, would he have adjusted as well as he apparently did against Clemson?
What do you mean, as far as running the ball a little bit? Or
Running the ball or just
throwing the ball?
managing the game?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. You got it. Who knows? It's too difficult. But, yeah, Steven made some nice throws in the game. Sort of the throwback to Alshon cutting across and so forth. But other than that, we didn't do much offensively last week. And give Clemson defense credit. They were tough, couldn't run. And a few times we thought we had a good pass play on, couldn't execute it. So anyway, that was last week, and we got to play a lot better. If we're going to have a chance to beat Auburn, our offense got to play some ball this week. We can't get smashed around and mess around like we did quite a bit last week.
Coach, the last week or so, I've noticed you and some of the players wearing the same style bracelet on your right.
Oh.
Anything related to that?
Some dude came up here and gave us a whole bunch of them. It's one of these energy bracelets, little power bracelets. Yeah, everybody, you guys don't have one? They're only $10 or so. I don't know, 10, 15 bucks. So, but I read something in a magazine. If you think that gives you a little more energy, it will. If you think it doesn't, it ain't gonna help you. So, yeah, a bunch of. I think Alabama players wear these things. I don't know. Maybe the Auburn guys are wearing them. I'm not sure. But Gillespie, next time you play golf, put one on. It's supposed to give you an extra 15 yards.
It helped your game.
I didn't wear one last summer. I'm going to wear one this summer, though.
Nothing to test.
All right.
Last question.
Anything else?
No. Okay. I think we're done.
All right. See you guys in Atlanta.